Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. Today we are looking at a highly dynamic, incredibly fast-moving crisis, the massive Hawk Fire that's currently devastating parts of Washoe County, Nevada. If you've been keeping an eye on the news lately, you know this is a rapidly spreading blaze that is literally threatening a major American city. But when we look at the data and hear the reports coming straight from the ground, the most gripping question isn't actually about the fire's massive size. It's about the staggering, almost unbelievable difficulty of stopping it. 0%. Despite an all-hands-on-deck, massive emergency response from local, state, and federal agencies, containment of the Hawk Fire currently stands at an absolute zero. Sure, they're holding the line in a few isolated places, but actual containment, the ability to put a definitive boundary around this beast, it just isn't there yet.
Okay, let's dive into this. How does a fire in a major metropolitan area, with thousands of resources being poured into it, remain completely uncontained? Well, today we're going to analyze the perfect storm of factors that are actively preventing some of the absolute best firefighters in the country from putting this blaze out.
Section 1. The 0% reality. A 13,000-acre explosion.
To truly grasp the sheer scale of this emergency, consider this. The governor has officially declared a state of emergency in Washoe County. The Hawk Fire has just exploded, now covering over 13,000 acres. And unfortunately, there's a very real human toll here. 6 people have suffered injuries so far. That's 3 civilians and 3 first responders. Now, thankfully, official reports indicate none of these injuries are life-threatening, which is a huge relief. But alongside those injuries, this fire has triggered massive power outages across the entire region, and several structures have already completely burned to the ground. The threat level right now is exceptionally high.
Factor 1. Erratic nighttime fire behavior, meaning there is absolutely no time to rest.
And this brilliantly illustrates the first major problem. To understand that 0% containment, we have to look at the highly unusual environmental conditions on the ground. You see, during a typical wildfire, nighttime is when firefighters make their real progress. The temperature drops, the winds die down, the fire kind of settles, and crews can finally move in and aggressively attack it. But the Hawk Fire? It's defying this pattern entirely. The winds aren't dropping, the temperatures are staying high, we are seeing sustained, incredibly erratic fire spread stretching deep into the night and early morning hours. It is a relentless 24/7 assault.
To really bring this home, let's listen to the on-the-ground perspective from Reno's Fire Department Chief, David Cochran. He notes that crews are witnessing fire behavior that many of them have literally never seen before. Because these bizarre weather anomalies deny firefighters their usual nighttime tactical advantage, it makes it incredibly hard, almost impossible really, to wrap their arms around a fire of this magnitude. Let's move to Factor 2, maxed out resources, a deeply stretched system.
So the weather is only part of the equation here. Right now, the entire western United States is sitting at what experts call preparedness level 5. This is the highest possible level of wildland fire activity. What this effectively means is that there's virtually no backup left in the national tank. Every available resource, every single piece of heavy machinery, and every available firefighter across the West is already committed to fighting large fires. Now, because of the immediate threat to human life, Reno is incredibly lucky to get prioritized support. The Hawk Fire is the top priority in the Great Basin region right now. They've deployed a highly specialized Type 1 emergency management team. They've got over 1,000 fighters on the scene. The National Guard has been activated, and federal FEMA grants are locked in. But, and this is a huge but, even with all this prioritized support, Mayor Hillary Sheev pointed out that the region is just coming out of fighting another local blaze, the Bug Fire. So you have back-to-back catastrophic events, and the crews on the ground are just physically exhausted right out of the gate.
Which brings us to Factor 3, the urban interface, evacuating Reno. So the crucial point is this. The previous blaze crews fought was mostly out in rural areas, but the Hawk Fire is entirely different. It is pushing directly into the densely populated city limits of Reno, creating a massive, massive challenge at the urban interface. You can't just fight the fire, you have to simultaneously manage a massive human exodus. Authorities have already evacuated over 42,000 people, and if we look at the next tier, there are roughly another 45,000 people who might need to flee. That's nearly 90,000 residents. Managing an evacuation of that scale completely splits the focus, the manpower, and the resources of public safety officials. Reno Police Chief Corey Sereno underscores this exact logistical nightmare. He explicitly states that maintaining these evacuation zones is honestly their biggest challenge. Just imagine the chaos for a second. Just last night, the fire actually overran the local freeway. Authorities had to shut it down, leaving only a single way of egress.
pushing people south, back into the city limits, just to keep them out of the fire's deadly path. It's an absolute monumental task to keep the roadways clear so firefighters can get in and citizens can safely get out.
And that leads us right into the human element, how it started.
So we've looked at the erratic weather, the totally maxed out resources, and the absolute nightmare of urban evacuations. But now we need to pivot to the really tragic reality of how this disaster actually originated. And this statistic is just startling. According to data highlighted by Reno's mayor, 90% of these devastating wildfires are caused by humans. While authorities don't yet know if the Hawk Fire was started intentionally, that's currently under intense investigation, they have definitively confirmed that it was human-caused. Mayor Hillary Sheev expressed some very deep, very real frustration over this fact. This disaster is taking a severe toll on the entire community. It's burning thousands of acres, threatening tens of thousands of lives, and it's all happening during a dry summer when red flag warnings were actively in place. It really highlights a critical failure of public accountability when conditions are so visibly, obviously dangerous.
Now, what's really crucial about these actionable survival steps from Police Chief Reno is how they impact the big picture. Because this fire is fast and totally unpredictable, he stresses that you absolutely cannot wait for the last minute. Step 1. Gather your documents and medicine early. Step 2. Do not wait for the official evacuation order to start packing. Step 3. Evacuate ahead of time. Why? Because early civilian evacuation prevents total chaos on the roadways. It directly protects first responders' lives and actually allows fire crews to get in there and start working on that 0% containment. So we've seen today how erratic nighttime weather, completely maxed out national resources, and the incredibly complex reality of evacuating dense urban populations create a perfect storm. A storm that keeps fire containment at absolute zero. But as our cities continue to expand further into these wildland boundaries, and as human activity continues to ignite 90% of these blazes, it leaves us with a really critical question to end this explainer on. Are we truly prepared for this new normal of 0% containment? Something to think about. Thank you so much for watching, and please stay safe out there.